you guys are off camera right now, but you're on mic if you ask a question for anybody who wants to listen back to this later. I imagine it will be rather dry, but if we need it, we got it. So that's how we do a recording. I can't imagine a lot of us need to worry about recording our screen for anything, but if you do, it's just in more down here. Now, when I hit stop recording, it'll begin turning it into a video for us. So we're live. Hi, Erica. So this was just our quick chat where I told her I can't make any promises because I'm going to forget to record it. And so she sent me in an email, hey, Kennedy, can you please send me a recording of this meeting afterwards because I'm not going to be able to be there. I took that email and replied to her in chat because I know that this back and forth here that we have didn't need to be 5 emails. It could instead just be a quick chat. The immediacy of the chat is also nice because it lets you know that someone is there right now for the phone call. Like when you send them an email, it's like they'll get to it when they get to it. But when you're in chat, you can just say, hey, do you have a minute to look at this with me really quick? And you can be done in 2 minutes rather than going into their inbox and becoming a part of their to-do list and waiting for the rest of the day to hear back from them. The immediacy is really key and really quick. I remember when Sam, you and I were doing that scan thing. It's like, okay, I'm at the wrong desk. Get back to me in 5 minutes. We'll get to it then. It really helps, get things done more quickly.
But the biggest advantage, I think, is sharing screen, because that's what we were having problems with the scan function, is here's what we're seeing, and it's faster to look at the screen.
Yes.
At the same time as you're talking about it.
So in those scenarios where you want to share information or need support on something, sharing your screen is invaluable. Sending a screenshot is great, but seeing it live and seeing what's happening is so much more useful. So the screen share ability here is kind of unparalleled. You don't have that option in Outlook. You don't have it anywhere else. You have to come to Teams for it. And it really is a great resource. Yes, Jill.
What's my best way to reach out to somebody when I need a team session with them? Should I invite them or just ask them to open Teams?
So the simplest thing to do is, let's say I wanted to have a quick call with you right now, Jill. I would pop open Teams and I'd be in chat, and I would just come up to this search bar and I would type in Jay Barris. I got Jill and I got Joe from our Jay Barris. I'm going to click Jill. And then I can just come in here and I can call you. I can video call you. I can just start sharing my screen with no audio at all. And you'll get these will all ping you for an invitation. We'll say, Kennedy wants to chat. Kennedy wants to share his screen. Do you accept? Just like answering the phone,
It's all in Teams though. So if they don't have Teams open, they're not seeing anything.
Right. That's why I'm recommending that we keep Teams open. If you try to call someone who has Teams closed, it will send you to a voicemail the same way as if you were calling them on the phone.
Okay. So once I chat with them, and my problem is they don't have Teams open. But if they had Teams open, then they would just be able to do what?
You could just send them a chat. So like you come in here, you say, oh, just pop open Teams and we'll be able to jump into a screen share. They're going to open Teams and they're going to be a little confused because they don't, right now, not a lot of us use Teams and they don't necessarily know where to go right at the beginning. So I usually just send a quick message. And there's usually a typo in it because I'm just mashing on my keyboard. Because all I want to do is get to the top of their chat. I want them to see, once they have Teams open, bing, Kennedy sent them a message. Then once they're looking at that message, we have all the call buttons here. Technically, you don't even need them to see the chat. Once they open Teams, if you hit to call them, whether it's screen share, phone call, video call, they're going to get a notification about that. So like they're going to have it ringing in the bottom of their corner. Kennedy O'Brien is trying to call you. Do you accept? As long as Teams is open. So once they have it open, that's like really the first step. After that,
it doesn't auto launch anymore though, right? It doesn't auto launch for them. It auto launches for me.
Correct. It does not currently auto launch, although we did get approval from Gary Jennison to implement a company-wide auto launch. So it should start auto launching on computers at some time in like the next month or so. We want to give it a little bit of time. We're going to let people know like, hey, Teams is going to start auto launching so that people don't see it and just close out of it.
Yeah.
We want it to auto launch and have people know that it's there.
And I believe currently right now, if you do a direct message to someone, it will send them an email, even if they're online. So they will get an email notifying that they have a message in Teams.
The
Yeah, but it sometimes takes.
The default,
Yeah.
the default notification settings, I think, are set to 4 hours. So I think if you send someone a message, they're not going to know about it for a while. But you're right. Even if they don't have Teams open, they will be notified via email. So once the auto launch thing comes in next month, we'll start having more people who are like always there. But you know, as we get used to it, people are going to start realizing how quick and easy it is and how useful it is to have that chat, and we'll naturally begin moving there.
What about the people that don't have the microphone? So can I call those people that, you know, have a tower that doesn't?
Yeah, so if they don't have a microphone or a camera, you can always get them on the phone and still have the screen share capability. So like share your screen with them and call them, and you can still accomplish the same thing. It's an extra step to have a phone call with them, but if they don't have a microphone, that's the best way to do it. I know.
I want them to share their screen with me. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they don't need to see what I'm doing. I need to see them.
Yeah, and that is perfectly fine. Once you're in Teams, anybody can share their screen with anybody else. So all they're going to do is click on that little share button up in the top to share it with. They can pick screen. See, there's the screen number 1 versus if I had another one, screen number 2 would be down here.
Okay.
And this is only to people internal.
You actually can work with external people as well. You just have to like know that they use Teams, right? Like, I don't know what other functions different. Yes. But if I have, this is Tim from IT.
Okay.
He's not a CJ employee, right? He's an iCore employee, but I have a chat with him. So as long as you have their email address and you know that they use Teams, you can just punch them right up here into the search, or you can do a new chat here. New chat, put their name in here, their email address. If you have somebody who's inside the company, you can put in their name and they're going to come up. But if they're outside the company, you'll need their full email, and Teams will do its best to find them. Sometimes they're not going to have Teams. You know, sometimes some organization might not be using it. But you can communicate with external people, provided you're aware of their like situation.
Okay.
Kenny, can I just this is Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what I've really enjoyed about Teams is kind of working on something together, having meetings with people, and not having to get everyone to go in the same room. You know, definitely for the sites, it's really to share a screen. It's really convenient, really easy to kind of go back and forth, to work on documents together. I think it's been fantastic. I will say, especially people that first start using it, sometimes people, either your microphone's not good or your microphone's picking up from your laptop, and not that. Tim has been fantastic on getting people to get their camera right, get their mics right. I have a hard time if I switch back in my office. I have an actual external microphone, and then at home I use my laptop's microphone. So sometimes it can be kind of weird to switch back and forth. And then sometimes you'll hear someone twice, because I think somehow it picks up both mics. So just maybe quickly show people how to pick a device. And also, if you're having that problem, please talk to IT. They can really help you fix kind of that background noise, because there's nothing worse than having a meeting where someone's kind of repeating themselves.
Yeah, so I definitely see that every now and then, where somebody maybe their laptop is like, they got 2 microphones, one is an external, one's an internal, and it's picking up on both or something. Under more actions, I believe is what we're looking at. There are device settings, this first one here. So in here, it opens up this sidebar where we can choose our audio device and our speaker. So by default, I only have the one option right now. So I only have one microphone built into my computer, PC mic and speakers. I had two speaker options. The other one being the TV. I could choose to send my audio through the TV instead. And now I'm in custom setup and all that. This changes to custom because I'm kind of split now. I'm not all in the computer. I'm one here, one there. But I'm just going to switch it right back to my standard setup. So depending on your setup, you can, change things around in here. You have your webcams. There's a webcam plugged up there, or technically I could use that one if I wanted to. But if you have any trouble, this is kind of the dashboard for where that happens. I do think a lot of times IT intervention may be necessary if you're having trouble like that, but that's where you would do it. Device settings up in here. So rather than throwing in the towel right away, poke around your device settings and see if you can just figure it out in there. And a lot of times, that way, when you have that background noise, you're not killing everybody else. Just turn on your mic to speak and then turn it back off when you're not, if you are kind of in a situation where you have background noise going on.
There is noise suppression built into the software as well, so it does suppress noise in the background. But that also might affect if you wait, it's like so far away from your mic, then your mic will start cutting out as well. So if noise suppression is on, you want to be close to your mic as well. So don't start wondering why or anything like that.
Can you modify
Turn off the
noise suppression in here,
Yeah.
right here? So noise suppression, we're in the same device settings that we were just looking at. And here we have, oh, I accidentally clicked learn more. We don't want to do that. Bring me back. You can change your noise suppression. So like, for example, Marie, sometimes when I'm talking to you, all of a sudden your voice gets really quiet. Like 1 minute it's totally normal. And then the next it's like, I can barely hear you. And clearly nothing has changed. So
Yeah.
it could be a noise suppression thing, just the way your computer is perceiving your ambient sound around you. So when that happens, you could come in here and like make your noise suppression lower or off and see if that does something.
A lot of the time, the noise suppression will kick on higher when like the air turns on, so the circulating air picks up on microphones quite a bit.
That could be.
So that
Yeah.
might be the air is picking on, and that's why it's suppressing your voice a little more than others.
So in here, we're not in a chat right now, right? We're in a meeting where we have our people, and our meeting has a chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like where Ryan was telling us that he couldn't hear us earlier because we weren't a part of the meeting. So this chat now exists in my other chat log, right? So down here, our lunch and learn.
Okay.
So that will just kind of always be there now. So if somebody wanted to mention like something about the meeting the other day, they could do it right in here and everybody who's a part of the meeting would see that. That's now just one of our many chats that we'll have. The recording, once we finish this meeting, see it says here recording has started. Once I complete the meeting, the recording will be here in the chat log for anybody to just click and open and view. We also have files up here. Files are available in like every level of Teams, which is like super useful, right? When we want to collaborate on a file, I'm going to go to Carmen because Carmen and I have a few files that we've shared. No matter when we shared them in our chat, they'll always be logged here under files. And because they're shared, I can just click on it. This is just a single click. I didn't double click. And it pops open right in Teams as sort of the viewer of Excel. If Carmen and I were both in this at the same time, we could see edits that the other one was making live as we're making them. So it's really useful for collaboration. Like Ryan was talking about, when you're on a meeting with somebody, you don't have to have a document that you're emailing back and forth and you were working on it while I was working on it. And then our two versions are now different. So we need to figure out the changes you made and the changes I made and then make them into one document. This is much more seamless, much easier for collaboration. And it's all linked to our OneDrive, our SharePoint, everything that we already have for like our company documents. So this will work really well in a Teams environment. So switching gears from chat to Teams, Teams is like a more organized version of chat. You have a large group of people who are all a part of this chat, but you can have like multiple conversations happening at the same time. So let's go, for example, to anything going on at Harbor Point. So here in Harbor Point, we can see the most recent one. This is a conversation about the unit conversion sheet for all their weird unit numbers at Harbor Point. And there's a like track of replies that happen in that particular thread, rather than just being a chat where each line is next one and everything is going. This one has a conversation about the unit number conversions. Then there's also a conversation up here about using Teams in general, right? So having these split conversations helps organize these things a little bit better. So we know like this sheet is relevant to this conversation and all replies therein will be relevant to that conversation. There's another one where here, Justin had announced that Ramblewood had a great score on their React, right? So this is different from this conversation that Gary made in 2020. This is a new conversation where we have 6 people who are all replying to it, kind of like you would see on social media, like Facebook or on Instagram, where like this is the primary post, and then these are all the comments that are in reply specifically to this. We have a good example with Carmen at Brackenridge, where we have one particular subject, our gross potential rent project. This was the original question with a bunch of replies on the subject. Then I posted a new conversation saying that we'd successfully implemented everything that was discussed up here. And then we have another discussion about the 1-month checkup for what's going on here, right? So we can keep things organized, we can keep replies set in where they belong, and everybody who's a part of this team can see it. Sure. I'm not sure if there's a built-in print, but if there isn't, you can always just like screenshot it, print it. You all should be a part of a team by now, I believe, because we have the accounting team here and we have an HR team of which I'm not a part, so we won't see that in my list, and compliance team over here. So you should at the very least have those. There may be others that you're a part of, or if you want to be a part of like a particular site that you're working really closely with, you can get in those sites too. We're going to be working on getting all of the properties will have their own level of team. And yeah.
I'm very like, for example, if I wanted to send something out to jars and some notice or something like that, I was like, oh, it's actually a part of this list. It does look like you can view that with the 3 little dots.
Yep.
See.
So if you want to come into the site leaders team, you want to see as a part of it, you hit the 3 dots and you'll have the manage team option. You see the 2 owners of the team, and then members and guests are the rest of them. So this team should be composed of all of the property managers and their maintenance supervisors, and then obviously some senior staff, regionals, stuff like that. So
an option to like, is that something you can do?
So if you can always leave the team on your own. If you hit that add member option, it will send a request to me and Gary to approve it. So anybody can, like, for example, Justin had sent me a request to add Soma when she joined because she wasn't on this list. Justin added her. I got the request, I approved it, and it came through. Any questions?
Because some places sometimes they say, oh, we have your power or whatever, which still there.
Right now, there is no, so you're saying like a point by which they get automatically deleted? Right now, there is no deleting. They're kind of always there.
They had some from 2020.
Yes, we saw a post from Gary Jennison from 2020. I don't think that there will be a change to that. I expect that it will probably be a forever thing, just like our emails are kind of forever things. And I don't think in our senior leadership one, right, we were talking, this came up a little bit, and I think it probably won't be like a 3-month thing, like you were saying. It'll probably just live there forever. I'm really excited about the files specifically because file sharing can be so tedious, and emailing back and forth, having that one document that can be a live, collaborative, actively managed document is going to be really great for us.
Oh, sorry. How is like the Excel? Because I know like the cloud Excel, but how it's like
Yeah.
how it's worked out is horrible. So I work on it locally.
So you can choose, it is the same, right? When you open it in here, it's acting like a web browser. So if you're looking at like the cloud-based, but you can, just like when you're in the web browser, when you open it locally, it should still be saving to the cloud.
It still does, but you can't, like, it's very difficult to have more than one person in the file at the same time without it causing issues to the cloud where it'll duplicate files. And so like at first I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I could be in a file and this person could be in the file, we work at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're working on it locally, I don't know how it is with the cloud, because I doing the web-based one. It just causes a lot of issues with the networking. Says like the cloud is desynced and it'll create all these duplicate files. Yeah, so
Okay.
I haven't been having more than one. I try not to have more than one person in a file at a time because of that very issue. But I wasn't sure this was.
So this is the same as the cloud because Teams does act like a browser. It's basically Edge put inside of the Teams app. But I'm not sure how long it's been. They're like constantly improving that cloud part. So like I know I used to do the same thing. Like I would always open it up in the local browser one. I've more and more been using the actual web browser for my stuff. I'm sure there's some roadblocks and things. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's always getting better. So.
And then where the files are stored compared to like, so is it a different location? Is it on a network? Like, so like if I open like, so share a file that's located on our network somewhere, like our cloud network somewhere, is it stored set in a different area on that?
So right now, every team automatically gets like a SharePoint. So the shared folders and the shared networks are called SharePoints, right? So if you have like the management shared folder or those shared folders are called SharePoints. And so every team has its own SharePoint. But what IT is working to do is to link existing SharePoints to their teams. So if you have an accounting folder that the accounting team shares, IT is working to make that the primary part of the accounting team in Teams, if that makes sense. They're trying to make it so that it is all one thing. Right now, it's not. They need like approval to make that happen, and like the time that they're gonna have to work needs to be paid for and things like that. But that's the end goal, is that the current existing shared stuff will all be synced and default with Teams.
Okay, so currently they're separated. Down the line it might be combined. How is it organized right now? Like, so I know they're separated, but like if I like share a file on the accounting team network, like is it just like here's the accounting team folder, it's just a file sitting out there, or like?
Right now, yes. You can organize it more like yourself, right? So right now, if we were to upload, are there any attachments in here? Let's go to files.
Not.
It might just be pictures of Joe.
Pictures of Joe.
Yeah.
Go back to that. Show him again.
We will. But so right now you can see that they are all just here as files. They're not organized, right? You can do a new folder and organize them. So these files having been thrown into the chat are just loose.
Okay.
We absolutely can organize them, that we can make a new folder that's Daddy Joe. We grab them all. Oh, misclicked. We drag and drop. Boom. Moved them. Now they're organized and we can open them individually.
Oh.
Beautiful. So there's your answer for managing. They're not automatically managed, but you can manage them on your documents.
SharePoint, the same and all those buttons.
Because it is.
Just not linking.
Well, it's not linking it with the other SharePoints,
The
but
other SharePoint,
it
yeah.
is a SharePoint in itself. So it is the same. It's just that we're adding new ones, and it's IT's job is to make them one so that we don't have two, like the
Dual.
traditional one and this new one.
Can we access, if we weren't in Teams, can we access that from like a local? If we
Yeah.
synced it,
Yeah,
we'd be
if you
able to
synced
do
it. So if you
But
went
like,
into,
like,
yeah, if you went to OneDrive in a browser, you would see it as another SharePoint that you have access to, and you could sync it to your desktop just like you normally would. You can pull it up in your browser. This is another SharePoint that you have access to.
How do you get from the Outlook to the Teams?
So you want to say like move an email, right?
Right.
So if we have a message, like let's say I wanted to talk to Heidi. She's asking me a one-liner. I can use this Teams menu here, or when popping this open, little Teams guy here.
Yeah.
Teams menu. I can either just start chatting with Heidi and it'll open up a chat like mine and Heidi's normal chat, or I can share to Teams, which will send this email to somebody in Teams as an attachment.
I see.
Right? So I'll come in here, I'll say, I want to talk to Heidi about this. I click share, I'm going to close this. And now when I go back, oh, too far, to Teams, I can go to my chat. We'll take a second to sync. Here we go. Heidi. And now my chat with Heidi has my email in it. I just basically forwarded the email into Teams. So now I can say, hey, Heidi, regarding this email, sure, I can meet with you on Thursday.
Got it.
Pretty easy. You can put whoever you want in that recipient bar. Like I just sent it to Heidi because we're testing, but you like Carmen, it looked like, did you not do that same thing yesterday? Because it looks like you did in here.
Oh, who knows what I did? Can you show me how to call individual peoples? Because I tried one and I was calling everybody in the team.
Yeah, so if you have them here. Yeah, it was at like 6:30 or 7 a.m. I was like, what am I missing? Yes, so if you have their chat here, which is probably what you did, you
tried to.
I did.
Talk to.
So if I wanted to call Heidi right now, I'm in a chat with her. I could just click on the phone and call her. I could also click on the camera and call her, or I could click on the screen share and it would just pop up saying Kennedy wants to share his screen with you, right?
Mhm.
So clicking any of these will immediately contact Heidi, and I can see she's available, and I could do it. I think it might kick us out of this meeting because like we're live in a different meeting right now, and I don't want to end this.
Okay.
But yeah, clicking any of those buttons would do it. So likely you were in a chat with the three of us. So rather than being in the individual
I was
chat,
at
you were in.
Teams. I was at
She was in
Teams.
the.
Oh, you were in a team.
Senior meeting.
Right.
Okay, so you were in here and
Right.
you did this guy up here, which is the same. You can say, I want to meet now with all these people that are a part of this team, and it'll call all them on their individual devices. If you wanted to, like, so right now, Heidi happened to be my answer here, but I want to chat with Carmen and she's not immediately available to me in my list of chats. Like I don't want to scroll through and find where I chatted with Carmen. I'll just come up here and I'll do see goo. This is up on the top. You won't see this because that's part of my thing, but so up here, see goo. There she is. Now I'm in my chat with Carmen and now I can freely call her or share my screen with her. So no matter.
If you're in a group, you cannot contact just one person. You have to pull that. one person
Individual out, yeah, right.
So like, for example, let's go to this one that we had open that was started the other day. This is my list of people. If I wanted to just talk to Ryan, I can hypothetically click on Ryan and now I can call him individually. Shortcut.
Okay.
It's the same thing as if I went and found my Ryan chat, but instead I have a shortcut here that lets me just call him straight.
Just do it with everybody on the.
Yeah, I could be like, hey, can I call you really quick? It's automatic. So if you click on a person in here, it should give you.
It's calling them on the landline phone, the office phone?
You'll call them on their computer and if you call me, it's gonna ring on my phone and on here because I have the Teams app. Which is another thing I recommend. Like if you have a company phone, put the Teams app on there and it's like, it's great. I love it. I can respond to stuff a lot quicker any time of day through there. So if somebody would call me right now, it would start ringing on here and on here at the same time. And when I pick up on one, it stops ringing on the other.
But at 8 o'clock at night, I don't need anyone from this company calling. I don't. We have nothing to talk about. We'll talk to you tomorrow. That's my time.
So there you go.
And we talked about adding like profile pictures, but I love like when I don't see someone ever, but able to put to the face with someone I engage with.
Instead of seeing just their name.
Yeah, obviously if I did a video call, then I've seen them if they have the camera on, but like just like, even like a message or emails, like if you got like.
Yeah, so all you would have to do is you can come up here. For the vast majority of us, I'm sure it's just going to be your first initial, right? Like CG here, BC. I think a lot of times it's just the first one, but it doesn't matter. When you click on it up here, you see there's a little camera there over my face. So I could just change it with a picture, just like normal. I probably should. This picture is like 8 years old. So yeah.
So could I add a picture even though you don't have a camera?
Yes. So like here, you see how in our meeting, Ryan has a picture, but you have initials.
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't have his camera on, but since he uploaded this picture, it's always going to be there even when his camera's off. Hey, there he is. So yeah, you can always upload a picture into those, and it gives you the warm and fuzzies when you're talking to somebody. It lets you feel, right.
What if you don't want to look at them like, no?
Yeah, but there's nobody like that at CJ, so you don't have to worry about it.
That I don't want to look at.
Whoa.
I'm gonna be nice.
What else? Any questions? I'm sure Erica is still going to be watching this 52 minutes into the recording, so we got to keep this spicy for her.
So,
She's gonna do the gifts.
Okay. So if I'm in the accounting team chat, right? I could be in a regular chat with anybody. Oh, look, Ryan's in a team training. So I asked him if he wanted to get on a call with me and he said no. And so down here, I'm just going to come to the GIF and I'm going to say, come on.
Oh, man.
There you go. So you can do that in individual chats. You can do it in teams very similarly. Like if I come in here and I want to chat with Joe and I'm going to just do hard eyes.
Oh, I should hope not.
And then
Ryan.
So on my computer,
Uh-huh.
I don't have a camera.
Right.
I don't believe I have a microphone because I tried to get on the Zoom meeting and we can go about
We'll get you that.
the UEM. And I couldn't get, I mean,
Could you hear?
I couldn't hear, I couldn't.
So, okay, so on a Zoom meeting, Zoom always provides a phone number. So you can always call into a Zoom meeting and still be able to partake, even if you don't have a microphone.
Right, I know that, but by this time, it was like 20 minutes into the doggone training, I just forget it, I was agitated, but my computer doesn't have that.
Yeah, and that is a limitation for the computers that don't have that stuff. You can always, as long as you have speakers, you can always hear, right? Which is kind of the beauty of having the chat function. So like when Ryan said that he couldn't hear us, he was doing it in the chat. So even though we weren't communicating via microphone, he could have his mic muted and still say like, hey, I have a question, right? So if you're in a meeting that you're not like leading, then not having a microphone is not like the biggest impediment. Like right now, obviously I can't.
But it was not come to the speakers, nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that.
Yeah, so that's an IT issue. Like your computer's gonna have speakers, and so just figuring out why it's not coming out of the speakers, it's probably a device settings issue. It could be coming. It could be trying to send your audio to something that's not there, but those can be overcome. Those are things that are, that's not a failure of the system. That's just got to get that computer up to speed kind of situation.
I don't think their towers have speakers.
They don't have any sort of audio.
There's a plugin for them, but
Yeah,
look at that.
board, but they don't. They're old.
That's where the calling comes in.
Yeah.
You dial in on your phone and then you can hear it on there.
Yeah.
For that specifically, I do want to say I think there are limitations in Teams because the phone functionality is like a very specific, like phone number, I think is only like a couple of accounts in the company have access to like a specific Teams phone number. I think maybe I could get one. Just want to see. Make a new Teams
So-
meeting.
Kennedy, it's true that by default, people are not getting that number. It is more money to get the numbers, but we can get them. Like Santoria down in Oak Hill didn't have it. I got her one because it's awesome for when she's doing appeals, because she can do a Teams meeting. And what's been really cool about it is we do the appeals by Teams. Some people, can't log on through Teams, but they can always call. But so by having the number there, if we're doing a lot of outside the company, we can certainly talk to your manager. We can get a number. It's not significant more money, but it is money. So we don't want to do it just for, if you're not going to use it. But I will say for Santoria, it was fantastic. Last week we had an appeal. The person had their iPhone, so I don't know exactly how they got on, because it's not Teams if it's the iPhone, but they got on. They got denied because they had failed their home inspection. They were able to take their iPhone, show us the apartment, and the other person was able to actually call because that person didn't have a computer with them, so they were on their phone. But what was fantastic is, Santoria is in Pittsburgh. I was in Boston. This other person was in another area of Pittsburgh. And in 25 minutes, the four of us kind of got together. We met, we talked, we came up with a plan.
You did a home inspection of a home you didn't have to go to.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Now Marie's going to take care of it for me. Is Marie in the office? I'm just teasing.
So,
no, but it was great because we had a non-Teams person. The phone number worked. So for site people that are doing a lot of outside, we should talk about getting phone numbers for them if they're going to use it. Because I love it when I'm having, because some people are like, hey, I can't get on. They're like, outside the organization. Anyone's inside the organization obviously can get on. Anybody, but some people that can't, the phone number is great because we did this Teams meeting, we did it, we're done. So if people are doing a lot of outside the organization, we should talk about getting a phone number, because then that way no one can say, oh, I couldn't get in, because all they need is a phone number.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was great.
And for those of us who do have the towers that don't have speakers or anything, because it's more money to get the phone number, it's probably cheaper just to get speakers
Yeah.
than to get.
Even a headphone, headset,
Yeah.
that way.
And also, Kenny, for some people in the cubicles and stuff like that, you use your headphones and a mic also, right?
Yeah.
That
You
might be an
probably couldn't
option
hear him,
for
but
some
Joe.
too.
Yeah, Joe said the same thing from across the room.
Oh, all right.
I'm glad you said it though, because Erica is going to need to know that when she's listening to this 59 minutes in.
Regarding.
Hey, Eric, if you listen to this part, please call me and I'll buy you some cookies. Let's see if she really.
So regarding the recording, like, do you have to be part of the meeting? Like, if the invited to the meeting, get the recording, or?
So by default, it is shared in the chat of this meeting, but I could obviously download it and send it to whoever I want to.
Like, with Erica on this, I don't think I saw her.
Maybe she wasn't, but either way, I can download it and then do whatever I want with it.
Okay.
Like, I'm of this size, I would probably just like put it on a private YouTube link, because obviously I'm not going to be emailing a video of this length.
Could you add her after the fact when the two have access?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes into my own personal OneDrive.
Gotcha.
So I think it's actually called Microsoft Stream. We don't have to get into that, but basically it's a thing where like I can go, it'll have a link in our chat and you guys could all watch it, but as the owner of it, I could change who has access to it, share it, things like that.
Difference between and Teams.
The biggest difference for us is that it is linked to our organization, right? So we all have Teams accounts, and there's no, like, when you don't have a Zoom account, you got 45 minutes, you're gonna get kicked off. Yeah, it's the fact that it's linked to our organization. You can't share files in Zoom. You can't like see people's availability in Zoom. You can't chat someone on the fly in Zoom.
But
When you're in a live Zoom, you can chat with someone.
Kennedy, have we done anything about following up on having a calendar for the accounting team?
Oh, great call on the calendar chat, Jill. So in our accounting team, right? We have up top shows us like our apps that are available in the team. And so we have an accounting team calendar. Right now, it's vacant. There's nothing in here.
I haven't.
Right. I'm not, this is not a blaming. I'm just saying it's not going to get us anywhere to like really dig into it because it's empty, but anybody can put anything in here that they want and the whole team would have access to it. They could see it, they can manage it, they can understand like what's happening with the team. So this is like tremendously useful for managing like schedules and events and things like that. If you have, for example, if this meeting was just going to be with the accounting team, I could have scheduled the meeting on this calendar and it would automatically invite everybody who's on the team to that meeting. So I don't have to worry about forgetting somebody because the team already is going to be invited automatically.
So I could come in and add an event.
We're in on HR team and I want to schedule something. Like
It will-
I have a personal 1 o'clock that has nothing to do with the team. Am I gonna be able to see that? So I know that they're actually available?
So actually, yes, that has less to do with the team and more just to do with the basic. Yeah, so like if I were to try to send a meeting to Marie right now, see, it says that she's busy because it knows that she's in this meeting until 1:30 or whatever the calendar invite says.
So, and then if there's like something on the accounting team meeting will show up on, like, so if I have my Outlook
Yeah.
open, it will be up.
Okay.
Outlook.
As long as you've accepted the invite on your personal Outlook, because it'll send you an invitation, just like you normally would.
Yep. In touch base on, another thing that we can do with this, besides better than Zoom, is, quite often, like, helping Sam or Yuri or anyone with, any Carmen with any computer things, I could request control their computer as a screen sharing. So instead of me having to go, oh, click that in the lower right-hand corner, you see that little Windows button, can you click that? It's a lot easier for me, like, hold on, let me just show you what you need to do, click this down here. And I can use the remote. Now, there's some latency to it, so it does get a little finicky at times, but
it's tremendously
it's way
useful.
better than having to sit there and try that.
So I just gave Jill control of my screen, and if Jill wanted to, she could start, you know, moving her mouse around and controlling what I'm doing.
I'm sorry, so I'm still, I'm in my calendar right now,
Yep.
and I can't see Lori. Let's say I want to send her a 1:30 meeting after here.
Yep.
How can I see that if she's free or not? Does I have to go
Teams?
busy? Yeah, I'm in Teams.
So let's. I'm gonna take.
Stop sharing.
I'm canceling Jill's control, and then. So we're gonna go into the calendar, and I'm gonna schedule a meeting, right?
Yeah.
And then up here, there's a scheduling assistant. And I can say, I'm going to add Lori as a required attendee. And now it's showing me, look, she's blocked off at this period. She blocked off at this period. She blocked off at this period. So her free times are here, here.
It's
So it's pulling from Outlook? Okay.
Yes, this is all synced with Outlook. It's all the same thing.
Even though they have a team calendar, because I noticed when you pulled up the team calendar, obviously they're all in this meeting right now, but that didn't show on there, the 1.5.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
pulling in individual ones, it's almost like loaded for the team, if you will.
Yeah.
A specific thing for the team that you guys
Exactly.
have that day. Oh, okay, I see.
So if I went to that team, I could use the scheduling assistant to see what everybody is if I wanted to make a new one for them.
Got it.
It's like I come in here, I'll go into the general accounting, I'm going to schedule a meeting. And required attendees are going to be the accounting team. And then, okay, so the accounting team, it pulls the accounting team's calendar, obviously. If I were to send it out, that accounting team would expand out to show all the individuals. And then the scheduling assistant would tell you all about those individuals.
Are they like? How do you, like confidentiality wise, how long they're out there? I think obviously we're HR, so you have to ask a question, but
Yeah.
Susan probably already asked before.
Right, she definitely did.
I'm sure she did.
So it's the documents exist here as they would exist anywhere else, right? So if they don't have like a time limit on them, they just exist there. If you delete them, they're gone. If you like, so you have an HR team, right? That was set up for you probably last week, I think.
Yes.
In that team, only the members of that team can see that stuff. So that stuff is hidden for you. If you go into a different team, then that stuff is accessible to all the people in that team. I'm trying to think of like, I also can't go into your chats to see your files. Everything is essentially, for privacy purposes, the same as email, right? Like technically IT can go through and pull anything they want, but all of us regular users can only see stuff that we're deliberately sharing or having shared with us. Files, you absolutely can, because you can always download the file. There's no built-in way to just like print the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like printing a text, it's a little bit more difficult
Oh.
to get screenshot.
Yeah.
But
And
the
you
file itself, you can download.
yeah, if I wanted to, like that Excel that I was looking at before, I could just download that and print it just like I normally would. I might not even need to download it. I might even be able to just print it right in the browser. But you know what? So
Can you delete it out?
right now, like, look at Ryan sending this GIF. I can come in here and delete this message that I sent. This message has been deleted. I can't delete the thing that Ryan sent. So
So
you,
if they haven't read it, and I deleted it, it's a file. Is it gone?
It's
They can't
gone.
see it.
yeah, even if they have read it, it's still gone. The only way it wouldn't be gone is if they downloaded it to their computer specifically before you deleted it. Then it would be out there. But that's something that Susan was, I think, advocating against deleting
Yeah.
things because she wants to be able to have a record of stuff.
Yeah.
Of going back in the past. So I mentioned it to IT. That's sort of like floating around there, whether or not we should be able to delete things, because obviously there's a benefit to deleting stuff that shouldn't be out there, but also deleting stuff that is necessary could be bad. So that's, yes. Yeah.
And, I just I know I can, do things to help protect me. We all make mistakes, but sometimes, oh my God, I sent it to the wrong group or something. I'd wanna.
Yeah, and
Something
so
like that, like the oops or the, you know what I mean? That would make me nervous. But yeah, I mean, I get it, like the other stuff, system of record. Yeah, or not system of record, but like just having a record, if you will.
Yeah.
I understand that piece. I'm just more.
So there's
afraid of the-
where probably we will end up. I imagine there's probably going to be some top tier level people who can delete stuff.
Yeah.
And so like you go to that person if you need
Yeah.
something deleted. That's probably the way it's going to end up. But right now we're kind of in the Wild West and you can delete your own stuff if you don't want it out there.
Like, send something, take it back.
I mean, sometimes I do it just to get people riled up. What was that? I guess you'll never know.
Like now I'm mad, 'cause I don't know what you said.
It was a GIF of Joe Biden, okay?
So how do you do a screenshot?
So to do a screenshot, I have a print screen button. So on my laptop, it's up there. You see it says PRTSC, I think. That's the print screen button.
Okay.
So if you hit print screen, like if I hit print screen, it asks me on my computer, like if I want to, there, I screenshot that particular area. It depends on the settings on your computer. Like sometimes you have to do control print screen or alt print screen. These are all different things, but once you do it, it's weird showing it on mine because mine is set up very specifically for somebody who like just uses screenshots a lot for training people and stuff. So mine's a little bit different than yours will be, but you're probably going to do control print screen and then it will just capture your screen. It won't even necessarily give you a notification about it, depending on your settings. And then you can just paste that somewhere. So like you paste it into an email, you could paste it into a chat with either Control V, or you can right click paste and whatever you've recently screenshotted will paste in there.
So if I wanted to, show Jill, for instance, 'cause I had an issue. Last week, and she wanted to have a Teams meeting. She wanted to have a Teams meeting. I'm like, oh.
That's the way to do it.
So,
Yep.
so I will be able to share the screen, so she'll be able to see what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yep.
Just like, so right now she can see this because
Right.
I'm sharing with her on here.
Okay.
This isn't a screenshot. This is a Teams meeting with screen sharing capability. So this is almost all like far preferable to screenshotting because like seeing it happening live is great. It happens so often where I ask somebody for a screenshot and they screenshot me something that I can't actually use. Like they cut off a valid piece of information in their cropping, or like they screenshot it after like you're like an error message is showing, but I don't know how you got to that error message. But if you could show me all of the steps by a screen share, that's always preferred.
So let me know, Linda, I'm ready.
Okay.
I have a question on the calendar again.
Yes.
So if I want to go into my compliance team and create just a compliance calendar that does not incorporate into their Outlook calendar, can I do that separately?
Yeah, so by default, the team calendar doesn't incorporate into other calendars. It just kind of keeps, it lets you know what other people's calendars are. If you're making a meeting or something, they'll say like, hey, people are available this time, not available that time. But they won't automatically, like the stuff that you put into the compliance calendar
Yep.
isn't going to automatically fill other people's calendars. It'll send them
Oh,
invitations if you
okay.
want to send them invitations. But if you just want it to be out there as a calendar, it can just exist that people can review it.
Yeah, it just needs to be a calendar with tasks, like monthly tasks, bi-monthly, weekly, it
So,
needs to have a task.
Without getting too deep into all of the stuff that teams can do like a limitless number of things. We've only like been doing the basics.
Where's my calendar there?
So right now you don't have one.
Oh.
So if you wanted one, you as the owner of this channel, you can come in here. I'm in compliance general.
Okay,
I hit this little plus.
Yep.
These are add a tab, right? So in here by default, channels and tasks are like the most common.
okay.
There's a million tabs that you could add in here.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, what about the tasks? I like that one. What's that?
So tasks is great. I'm not going to add one here because I don't want it to be like confusing or anything. I'm going to show
What's
you
on the
one
Okay,
that we've got going on. So like in here, I have a digital marketing channel on the marketing team, right? In here, we have a task list called website upgrades. This is a list of tasks that's essentially shared between really everybody at the marketing team can see it, but it's primarily like me and Ann and Justin. I'm going to make a new roommate process at Harbor Point. It's assigned to Kennedy. Homepages to look like Malden Station homepages, that's assigned to Ann. And we now have this task list that shows us what's going on. Here we can see I want to make contact pages. This is assigned to both me and Ann, and 5 out of 15 properties are done because 5 out of 15 on the checklist. I can come through and see, okay, it's done at Malden, Oak Hill, Queen Anne's, Harbor Point,
so we
Redwood.
can see when the task is completed.
As long as somebody marks it complete, yes.
Anyway.
These
all right.
task lists are really cool, but it's also maybe like an extra step.
Yeah. Well, it's an extra step anyway, you know. It's
Yes.
just
Oh,
that-
no, I mean an extra step beyond chat.
Oh,
Like
okay,
we're
I
really
see.
kind of covering chat and stuff
Okay,
today.
okay, fine.
But
That's
But if
enough.
people like
It's
that and
more
people want to get
advanced,
into it and people aren't asleep, Erica,
Okay.
we can get into it if you want to, or we can do a one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's only for the clients.
I think we're just good for today.
Yeah,
Great.
I think that's. Is enough.
Anything else from my folks on the online? Jill, Susan, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All good.
Go over the beginning, like how to access teams. Just
Yes.
Click on it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cancel this. I'm gonna end the recording because I'm gonna close completely out of Teams to show you how to get into it again. So I'm coming over here. I'm gonna do stop recording.